Welcome to the Lightbeam Hour. We're really excited to have you here tonight. I really appreciate that you spend your time with us in your evening. I know you have many choices, and it's an honor that you've chosen to be here with us for this special hour with Lori Raymond. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what this is, and then we're going to move into a special prayer intention with Lori before we get any further. So this program, the Lightbeam Hour, is something that I had designed to be a program and to be a forum for masterful teachers to share their individual messages and wisdom, and to help people all over the world heal and awaken their lives. So before I get introducing myself and my wonderful guest, I would like to ask her, because we just did this wonderful prayer and set an intention for this hour, and I would like her to add that to this recording so that everyone benefits from it. So, Lori, would you lead us in the intention for this hour?
Oh, Cecily, my pleasure. So I would invite everybody right now to take a deep breath in that centering space as we affirm, Father, Mother, God, thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity to hear, listen, share, and express as we travel through this hour around a concept of the four-chamber pathway, the heart of the new visionary. We give thanks in advance for the divine ideas that pop up within each of us to serve us, bless us, and prosper us. And so it is. Amen.
It is. Thank you so much, Lori. And now you've got a taste of what this hour is going to be. How beautiful. So let me start then by just sort of introducing myself. If those of you who have not been on a call with me before and don't know who I am, my name is Cecily MacArthur, and I am a spiritual teacher, life coach, speaker, writer, and my life mission is to help people connect with spirit, to awaken their authentic selves, discover their true purpose, embrace change and responsible choices, and create the life of their dreams. And as I've already mentioned, my guest tonight is Lori Raymond, and I'm going to talk to her about her amazing background in a moment, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the format of the show for people who have joined us. I've got everyone on mute, so we're to keep the noise down as we're doing the interview, but we will stop and ask for questions and comments. So to participate, if you have a question, you're going to hit 5* on your phone to raise your hand, and I will unmute you and identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. So we always encourage people to ask questions, and if you think of something as Lori and I are talking, please jot it down, because sometimes you forget when I ask questions that people like panic and don't remember what they wanted to ask. But please speak up, because whenever people ask questions, it always helps everyone listening, helping them to better understand what's the content, but also helping to have a deeper learning in the process. So thank you ahead of time for participating. So now let's get started and introduce Lori. I've got an amazing bio here for her. She is an inspiring spirit, a world traveler, a humanitarian, and a lifelong student. She has 2 masters in human resources and education and is the founder of the Women as Visionaries that helps women reinvent themselves through her coaching, retreats, speaking, writing, and Vision Quest travel programs. While leading a spiritual group in Peru, Lori received a special gift from a shaman guide, a black feather from a condor, the sacred bird of the Inca. The shaman told her, "You are a
Shakana.
Thank you. A bridge person whose purpose is to guide people from where they are now to their highest good." What a great
Yes.
And inspired by that knowledge, she created Vision Quests, trips that combine spirituality, service to others, and sightseeing to amazing locales, including Bali, which you'll hear more about her next trip coming up at the end, Assisi, Italy, Maui, my favorite place, and the beautiful mountain country of North Carolina. So during the past 2 decades, Lori has successfully spoken to and or guided 7,000 plus individuals in organizations and nonprofits through a transformative process she calls vision mapping. Lori's life work is inspired by the passion of leaving a legacy of service to women, because she believes that as women goes, so goes the world. So Lori's going to talk to us tonight about her newest book that's coming out, The Heart of the New Visionary, the 4-Chamber Pathway. And this is very exciting to be able to talk to her about some of the new work that she is doing. So welcome, Lori.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here.
That's great to have you as a guest. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and especially that Bali trip, amazing. So I wanted to ask you a little bit more I just read your official bio, but tell us a little bit more of how you got into this work and what brought you to being this visionary, this wonderful organizer of women's transformational trips.
Oh my gosh, such accolades. It's a process. I think, it's a process, Cecily. I've been just doing this work from a place of love and joy for 22 years, and it's evolved and then gotten names and gotten labels and websites, and, now the website is, Women as Visionaries. But and as a spiritual traveler, go figure that I would be here where I am right now, talking about, spiritual things. So it's been an evolution, and I just encourage anybody who is out there, just, stop, take a breath, and try to connect the dots, because everything that you need or want to know and where you should be or want to be, you really already do know. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And tell us your mission, because when you told me your mission, I was very impressed, and I think that has a lot to do with what you've just said.
Oh, you're so kind. Yeah. In meditation, I came up with, when people say to me, Lori, what do you do? And my answer is, my intention is to open hearts and inspire action. And in that, Women as Visionaries does that through global events, education, and travel. But it's all about opening hearts, which, we have that all the time. We experience that all the time. We go to events, we go to workshops, we do a lot of things. And for me, or for Women as Visionaries, it's about the next step, part 2, or the bookend, about taking action. What are you going to do? Which we're going to talk about tonight, I know.
Could you just explain to us when you say open hearts? Because you alluded to it when you first talked about people having knowledge inside of them. So how do you see, how would you define an open heart?
Well, in my most recent blog on the website, it talks about a radical concept, which we said we would talk about tonight, is that the heart is not a pump. It's not just a mechanical pump. And Thomas Cowan and other people and HeartMath and wonderful people know, without a doubt, that the heart is something more. And so the heart is, for me, and based on this information, the heart is a listener. It's the listener of our body, which is powerful when we look at that, know that, feel that, go to that space of recognizing that the heart is a listener.
Say more about listening. How does the heart listen?
Well, the heart listens in a very intuitive way. And given the world that we live in right now, just even listening, interacting, whatever, is so important. So intuition, it's being in that quiet space that we can listen. And when we listen, I believe what we're listening to is our heart, our heart function.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking of when you're listening, then you're actually getting messages. It's part of your heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. Clear, sometimes maybe indirect, but yes, absolutely. The heart is sending emails if you listen.
Absolutely. I love that. So we think about using the heart to connect to our higher selves or to a divine knowledge or to God. How do you see that connection? And how is that tied to the listening to those emails?
Well, I think it is all that and more. And for anybody who's listening, we just, I just want to make it comfortable that people just can be quiet and truly listen. And I think, again, as they listen, it is about their listening to their heart. And that's the truth. And that's their special place.
Mm-hmm. And that's where they get all those answers that you said are all inside of us.
Yes.
And getting quiet is really important, absolutely, in doing that. So do you have in your workshops or in working with the women that you coach, do you have methods for practicing that listening? What do you recommend?
Well, what I recommend is my spiritual practice is every morning. I'm typically up at around 4:30 or 5 o'clock because that's when my little cat, he's my spiritual guide, wakes me up. He wants food. He wants attention. And I light a white candle. I sit, and I just do some quiet breathing. It just can be that simple. And I just ask and say, what do I need to know for my best and highest good today? That it's just, it can be that simple. Other people, can draw cards from a card deck, an angel deck, a tarot deck. They can do whatever. And before I start my day, before I even put on coffee or check Facebook or do whatever, this has been my practice for the last 6 years.
And it is simple. That's really easy to do then for people. And it's that quiet,
very
quiet, and listening, paying attention, really getting conscious of what answers you are getting, that voice that shows up.
Right, and it is like going to the same place, like the same chair or the same couch seat, and or lighting a candle, and or if you want to put more layers, lighting incense. It's just that simple act, but it's habit. It's habit that we do every morning when we wake before the craziness of the day, engulfs us.
And it's something that it really does take some practice for people. What would you say if someone said, I get quiet, but I don't hear anything?
Say that again?
What would you say to someone who said that if they do get quiet and they have a practice, but they're not really sure they hear anything or they're not getting any messages? What would you recommend for them?
Typically, I have been told by my mentors that you just continue to ask for 1, 2, 3 days. And within that 3 days, the answer is given. It's never longer than that.
Beautiful.
Never longer than that.
So if some people start a practice and they stick with it, so there's a consistency. You talked about being in the same place, in the same chair, or lighting a candle, having a consistent practice that you do regularly, that it's just going to get easier and easier, and that you will, absolutely. It's expecting that you will.
Of course.
Terrific. So this is a concept for people to really think of the heart in a different way, as opposed to just a mechanical pump, and that it really is a source of knowledge and a connection to higher or divine knowledge. So there were two radical concepts. One was that the heart is not just a pump, that it has a much more spiritual and a larger concept than we even ever imagined. What's the second one? What's the second radical concept that you have written about in your book?
Well, and it's just not me, but the second radical concept is one must no longer work for money. And these two concepts of one must no longer work for money and one must understand that the heart is not a pump comes from an extraordinary visionary, Rudolf Steiner, who was a philosopher and founder of the Waldorf education movement, who really passionately believed that if we as humans need to evolve and move to another level, have to embrace these two concepts.
So tell us more about the idea of not doing what you love as opposed to what you think you have to do. Tell us more about what that is.
Well, I think many people right now have realized that corporate America or wherever they are, it is not home. It's not always a friendly, comfortable place, and that you need to take a look at where you are and what you're doing and the money that is involved. And many of the boomers, of which I am, are realizing that there is something more. We want to give back. We want to leave a legacy. And where we're working right now doesn't allow us to do that.
Mm. So the concept of no longer working for money, it's really then working for your dream, looking for a way that you can contribute to the world or to fulfill your purpose. And particularly, as you said, boomers, but even for young people listening, to be able to do that from the beginning of their lives and know that it is possible to live from that place and not have to sell out, per se, to a job that you really don't want just to make money.
Right. And in the book I have a quote, and I want to share that if I could. Please. It's from a man, his name is Charles Spurgeon. He was a really great preacher. He spoke to, like they say, over 10 million people in his life, again, at the turn of the century. But his quote, which I have in the book and I just love, is, "Those who loved you and were helped by you will remember you when forget-me-nots have withered. Carve your name on hearts, not on marble." Carve your name on hearts, not on marble. So if you're in a job or you're in a place or whatever you're doing, I would just invite our listeners, are you carving your name on hearts or not? And because, again, we go back to when you leave this world, what is your legacy? What do you want to? The word passion. I don't know if you've ever heard this, Cecily. Passion. If you take the word, break it up into 3 syllables. It's pass. Then the letter I, on. What do I want to pass on?
Oh,
my
love
passion.
That. I didn't know that. How
You've
cool.
never heard that? Oh, Yahoo!
Oh,
What my passion is, what is it that I want to pass on? What is my legacy?
Legacy. I love that. So how do people know what they want to pass on, or what their passion is? How can they tell?
Well, say that again. It's a profound question. My mind is like going through.
How can people know? I mean, what they want to do with their life, or what their passion is, or what their purpose is? How do you help people to be able to recognize when they are just working for money versus their dream?
Well, in my process of vision mapping and my coaching that I do with my clients and with groups and people, and again, I've probably dealt with over 10,000 people now in my journey.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is, like, when I ask people, what is it that you just had such joy and great happiness and feeling when you were a kid? It's just that simple. We don't have to go through lots and lots of. We don't have to go through a lot, but when people, women, get back in touch with what gave them great joy as a child, then we tap into that, and then we say, okay, well then what about that experience? What were the qualities about that? So that is something that I guide and ask people about.
So can you tell us more about the vision mapping process?
Well, vision mapping, other people will know it as a vision board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the word vision board because for me that's static. The word vision map implies an interactive relationship. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I like that. I have that problem with mapping also.
Right.
It just needs to be more of a living issue in my mind. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it is a living issue. And so the vision mapping process, I have a 7-step process that I guide people through, and the first one is, we just kind of touched on that, was the V, which is to value your values. It's like to really be clear about what's most important to you. And then, again, I guide people through the other steps. And that could be another call.
Well, we don't
be another call.
You don't have to give it all away, but you do have a 7-step process, and this is what helps people to figure out for them what it is that they really want to do with their lives. And can you define visionary for us? What is a visionary?
Gosh, I'm sure many people have definitions. For me, it's a woman who is living their authentic life from a place of passionate purpose. And that's huge. That's huge. Authentic.
And so that's really is the basis of all your work here, in that you have a 4-part path to get to that authentic pathway or that authentic person. Can you tell us more about the 4-chamber pathway and how that helps people to be visionaries for their own lives?
Well, yes. And, after 22 years and doing this work, I don't know all the answers, Cecily. I don't. And I can only just suggest, and these 4 chambers came in meditation when I asked, like, what do I really need to share with the world? And they all came up with four words, and they all started with P, which is interesting. But the pathways are around prayer, play, patience, and power in that sequence. And again, I didn't come up with that. this information was, was given to me. So
okay.
those 4 core qualities are what I talk about in my ebook, which I want to offer all of our listeners as my gift that they can get for free just by sending me an email at my website, www.womenasvisionaries.com.
Great. And we will mention that again at the end, and I will put that in the replay so people will know about that, so they can email and get their free ebook, and I want it too. So can you tell us more? I love the 4-chamber concept. Is it? I'm assuming that's related to the heart and the 4 chambers of the heart?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So can you tell us more about, can you walk through? Start with prayer and tell us a little bit more about how this pathway works.
Well, for any visionary, I mean, prayer is just, it is the first place. It is that silent place that we just go to. Just stop, breathe, and ask. One of the takeaways that I want to give to your listeners is please explore silent unity, which is a 120-year-old affirmative prayer ministry. They are available online 24/7, again, all year. 1-800, pardon me?
What's the name of that? What was the name of the prayer group?
Silent Unity.
Silent
Unity, and it is 1-800-NOW-PRAY. You can call them. They will pray with you. You will, if you want, they will send you a letter of affirmation. Or if you don't want that, they will never call you, solicit you, or do whatever. Again, 120 years of praying for you.
Wow.
So for anyone who is moving, wanting, seeking, this is just an amazing place. If we don't talk about anything else tonight, and if your listeners don't do anything else, and they just experience this, Cecily, oh my God! I mean, oh my God! It's on my, the number is on my cell phone.
Yeah.
When I get stressed, business, personal, whatever, I call.
That's excellent. And so there's a live person on the other end that you speak to.
Of course.
And they'll just pray with you, or they have a prayer for whatever's going on in your life, or
you say your need, they pray. That's it.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's a great idea, because I actually have a little issue with prayer for myself sometimes. I can do affirmations and I can talk to God, but to actually have a real prayer, sometimes I can't find the words, or I don't know what to say. So that's a great way to do it. I just call. I'm going to try this.
Well, you get off the phone. Good.
Absolutely. That's a great resource. Thank you so much for that. Silent Unity. And the number again is 1-800-NOW-PRAY. I love that. Very cool. 120 years now. Is this part of the Unity Church?
No, this is part of the Unity movement.
Unity movement, okay.
And Myrtle Fillmore, who founded the Unity movement with her husband Charles, as she shared her amazing healing from tuberculosis over a series of months as she held intention and did meditation, and then she started sharing what was going on, people said, well, tell us more. And the result was, again, what women do is they pick up the phone. And that's what happened. It's truly, that's what happened in the 1890s. Go figure.
That's incredible. All right, so prayer is important, and we talked about that, and it's also a part of the getting silent and just being able to, you said stop, breathe, and ask. So that's part of that getting quiet and going in and asking your heart, listening to the messages is part of prayer also. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So moving to the next one, which is play, is the second one?
No, patience.
Patience. Okay, patience is second. All right. So tell us about patience. Why is that important?
Oh, my gosh. Again, back to that space just to stop, but patience can also be another word for faith. And in fact, my house is called Casa de la Fe, and F-E in Spanish means faith, house of faith. And so for women who are moving into their greatness, into their light, they have to have that patience, that faith to know and to see that it is so. And with that, there just comes great peace.
Okay. I believe that really is important to have that's part of the quietness too, because when you have that faith, then you're sort of unruffleable, if you know what I mean. You keep it becomes like an inner peace that allows you to be patient without getting frustrated or upset about it's not the external, whatever's happening externally won't affect you. Is that part of what you're saying?
Right. And I have a story about that. Would you like to hear that?
Love some stories. Terrific. Thank you.
Great. Well, 7 years ago when I returned from Honduras here to the States, I had the intention that I absolutely knew that I wanted to have a house for my daughter and me, my adopted daughter. And my family and friends said, get a job, save money, rent an apartment, and then, buy a house. Well, I didn't take their suggestions. And so kind of secretly, I found an amazing real estate agent, and I said, can you be a miracle worker? I have no money. I've been working in Honduras serving third world children for 5 years. I have an adopted daughter from that country. And what can you do? And would you like to take me on as a client? And he said, yes. I mean, I'm serious. I said, can you be a miracle worker?
You were guided to this agent for sure.
Yeah. And so through a series of whatever, he sent me an email about the home that I'm in now. I walked in. I had electric shocks through my body, clairsentient. It was probably, I didn't know what was happening, and knew that this was my home and started to cry. I didn't even see the whole house, just saw it. And I was the first person to put a bid on the house. They accepted it. They loved me. They asked me to bring up my bio. I did, and I bought this home with no money down. And, yeah, it was, and I named the house, my home, Casa de la Fe, House of Faith.
Oh, so it didn't come with that. That was definitely a house of faith.
That was me.
You.
And then when I told my family and friends, they were like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I bought this house. Yeah, I bought this house."
That's a fabulous story. So you definitely had a vision. You knew what you wanted, and I'm assuming you did some praying about that. And then I just had faith that you could make it happen.
Yeah, I want to share with people that a lot of people will tell them shoulds, like how to do their process, and I invite our listeners that if it is in your heart of hearts, which this home was for me, I wanted a home for my daughter who is coming from Honduras and for me. there was nothing more stronger, more magnetic, more magnificent, and it unfolded. I mean, go figure that I would find this house, and it wasn't even listed on the multiple listing, whatever, MLM. And
meant to be yours.
It was mine. It was mine, and it has been. It has been for the past 7 years, Cecily. But it's like if it is in your heart, go there. Go there.
I was just listening to Alan Cohen this afternoon and listening to a replay of an interview he did, and I thought when you're saying in your heart, I think that this also fits in terms of listening to other people, because other people told you it was impossible, that you can't buy a house without having a job and having no money, that you can't do that. But
they had a whole path that I needed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, and I was like, thank you for your thoughts, and I'm moving into a house. But they were like, how can you do that? You know, because they knew. I mean, they knew I didn't have money. I didn't have $20,000 or $10,000 to put down a deposit. I didn't.
So you didn't succumb to their negativity or their view
Correct.
of what was possible. And you knew in your heart. So, I mean, that was what Alan Cohen was saying, is when you listen to the advice of other people, let them give it to you. But then it's the listening piece that we were talking about before.
Yeah, back to the heart.
Listen to your heart.
Back to the heart.
If it doesn't feel right, if what they tell you doesn't match what your heart is telling you, then thank them, but ignore them.
Right. The heart is a listener and not a pump.
There you go. So that's really the key here is whatever happens, that's really staying true. You knew in your heart this was your house when you walked in, and you didn't waver from that. You didn't allow anyone to counter that feeling, that you stayed true to that listening of your heart. So beautiful. What a great story. So number 3 is play. Tell us about play. I love play. This is a great part. Why is play important?
Oh, my gosh. This is a really hard chapter for me. Hard in the sense that I'm such a workaholic. I don't know if any of your listeners out there identify with that. But
I'm sure a few do, yes.
Yeah, but play is so important. And there is amazing research on this, that the fact that major corporations or whatever really know that play is so important. A couple of quotes I could share are, play is the only way the highest human intelligence can unfold. By Joseph Chilton. Let me say that again. Play is the only way the highest human intelligence can unfold.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have to play.
Human intelligence, because it's with that like a vibration level that play creates. That's what you're saying. Yes.
Right. And so, as a visionary, we really need to commit and invest to playing every day, to put the time and the date, Cecily, in your planner.
There you go. Time to play.
And keep it as a sacred play appointment. That's the action. That's my tool. That's my takeaway. I want to tell everybody, put a sacred play appointment down in their calendar.
I love that. One of the things that helped me was to getting my dog. I adopted a dog in the summertime, and the dog really helps me to play because he's such a joy. He just loves everything.
What kind of dog?
He's an American Eskimo. He's a 20 pounds worth of white fluff, and he's
how precious.
It's a delight. But I think animals also, and just for children, people who have small children, certainly children can bring that out in us. They're overly serious adults. But the animals are just, everything that they do is delightful. They just have the great time. And I live near the beach, and every day I walk the dog on the beach, and I watch him run and back and forth and chase the seagulls, and he's in seventh heaven, and it raises me up just watching him. I just have so much fun with him, and it definitely lightens you. It definitely does, that sense of really who we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be these incredibly serious, nose to the grindstone folks that we've adopted.
Right, and as a new visionary, I'm encouraging everyone to embrace that. I mean, prayer, patience, play. Add this to your mix. Add this to your mix. Add this to your intentions for the day.
I think that's great. And identifying what really play is for you, because everybody's a little different in that. But finding things that are fun, or just even watching funny things, or getting funny movies, or doing something that makes you laugh. I have a friend of mine who is a laughter yoga instructor, and I love laughing with her. That is, to me, it's the same concept.
Oh my goodness!
It just raises your vibrations, and 20 minutes of laughing, and you are definitely in a whole new space. So I recommend that too if anyone is interested in laughter yoga. It's a great way to play. So the fourth one is power. Tell us about power.
Wow. This was probably the hardest chapter that I had to write about. Because I just, I drew an angel card for what would be my theme for this year. I do that every year. I do a soul date, soul cafe with myself on January 1st of every year. I have lots of practices that I do. I reread my journals, my gratitude journals and whatever. But my theme for this year was take back your power.
And what does that mean to you?
It means that I'm supposed to use my gifts and my intentions to manifest, what it is that I want in my life, and to connect. The word is connect. The word is connect with power. When you think about it, when you think about your electricity, your gas, your lights, your whatever in your home, or, it's about connecting. And so my intention is to connect in a greater way, to share my story. We each have a story. Each story is powerful. And I think each of us have an obligation, like you and your listeners, that we share that story, because we don't know how, by sharing our story, that might move someone into something different. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I think there is the power of our experience, that when you're telling the story, the way that you've, like the story you told about finding your house, or ways that you've actually been able to show your power in the world, or have awoken to your power, or people who have gone through some tragedy and then have come out the other end a stronger person. So stories that are about inspirational transformations, to me, is where that power can come from.
Yes, absolutely.
And how do you connect power with the heart and that listening piece? Where is the power in that?
Wow, what a profound question. My response is it would be like going back into that silence. And it would be putting my hands over my heart, breathing, asking and allowing the heart to be the listener and give me the answers, Cecily.
And there's another piece, though, for me is that knowing that when you get the answers, and it gets back to the prayer and the patience and going from that and with the faith, is that knowing is unwaverable, and that you just go from that, and when we're in fear and doubt, we give our power away, we lose our where we want our vision with that. So to stay in power, to me, would stay in alignment with the knowing from your heart. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And in power, it's like it is trusting that, all things work out for me, that everything in the universe aspires to help me. I mean, that's a powerful thing.
Yes.
Everything, every action, every person, every phone call, whatever, aspires to be supporting me. And when we think this way, we are in power. And then we are empowered, EMPOWER. We are empowered to move forth, to share our gifts, to do the work we need to do, to leave a legacy. Because for me, at the end of the day, what is my legacy? What is my passion? What do I want to pass on? What do I want to pass on?
I love that trusting concept, because it's so important, and that's not so easy for people, and that's part of where we give away our power again, in that we don't allow ourselves to really trust and to be able to have that legacy, or being able to pass on who we are authentically are. But how can we trust more? How can we really build our power? What would you recommend for people to do?
To trust more, is that your question?
Mm-hmm.
To trust more. How could we trust more? I guess the flip side of that is like, how can I be a more trustworthy person? If I seek trust, I have to be trust. So, however people can take a look at their lives in an inventory, how can they be more trustworthy? Does that make sense?
That does. I like that. So to be more trusting, you have to be trust. So it really does come from inside, in being that example, and really it's part of that authenticity you were talking about, having that be part of who you are, and again standing without the fear and doubt, and standing in your power of that trust. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, at this point, what I want to do is to take a little break and ask if there are any questions of any of our listeners. It would be 5-star on your phone. You just push that, and that would raise your hand on my screen here, and I can unmute you, and you can ask your question. So if you have a question of Lori, any of the things we've talked about here tonight, just press 5-star. Okay, looks like we have a quiet group here. That's fine. So I really do want to make sure that you have time to talk a little bit more, once again, about the ebook. When is it going to be available? And let's repeat how they can get a copy of that. And then I want to talk about the Bali trip, too.
Sure. So the ebook about all that we've been talking about tonight is just send me an email, Lori, Lore, at womenasvisionaries.com. Also on Facebook, we have a fabulous community, over 1,300 strong. Women as Visionaries, come join us. That would be great. And I respond and comment on everything as my commitment to you. So I would love to have people do that, Cecily.
And when will the book be available, Lori?
March 1st, the ebook. Yeah, March 1st. And I'm just so excited about it. And it's free. The word free, yeah, it's free. I mean, I want to share these stories and this information in a very, very, very powerful way, because this book was really channeled. Some people can say, like, well, yeah, what's that? And it really, 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 really was. Because, again, I have a daily practice of every morning for over an hour, hour and a half. These words of the 4 P's of prayer, patience, play, and power came to me. Don't know why. Don't know. I don't question, and they came to me.
And I think all of the really most profound writings that people are doing these days, everyone's saying that I didn't do it. It came through me, and I know some of
yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
You read it back, and it's like, wow, that was pretty cool. Where'd that come from?
Right. Absolutely.
That's fabulous. So I'm really excited that you're putting this out there, and as a free offer to people, so that they can really benefit from these ideas, which are very powerful in themselves, and really a way to live your life. So I'm assuming then also you're going to be doing some workshops around this material, and would you tell us about the upcoming Bali trip and how that ties into your book and your these new ideas?
Well, yes, I'd love everybody to join me in Bali this June 9th through the 19th. We have a trip. Travel is such a spiritual transformative process, which most people understand. And so I take a group of women every year to Bali, and I would love to invite anybody who is so led and that this speaks to them to let me know.
And so how many times have you been to Bali now? This is a regular...
2 years. This will be my 3rd year. Mm-hmm.
3rd year. Okay. And tell us a little bit about the itinerary. What happens? What is some of the work that you do when you're there?
Well, our vision quests to Bali are unique in that they combine the 3 S's. And the 3 S's are spirituality, service, and sightseeing. So we really delve into the spiritual practices of the country. The second piece is service to others. Everybody who comes to Bali with me brings 50 pounds of donation cargo, which is so great. We have a orphanage and a medical clinic that we bring things to. And then the 3rd S is sightseeing. So of course we do some fun sightseeing.
Well, it's such a beautiful place. That's really amazing. Very cool. And what would you like to say to people about if they're considering this? What would be a inspiration for them to sign up?
Bali is the soul of the planet. And so if you are so called to experience that, come join me. Beautiful.
And how can they sign up? What?
Well, my website, www.womenasvisionaries.com, all one word, womenasvisionaries.com.
All right, and they can sign up right there. There's a form and
correct
process for that. Perfect. All right. So let's just ask one more time because we're getting close to the top of the hour. Anyone have questions now, or anyone want to ask about the Bali trip, or anything else that we've talked about here with Lori? and all the generous things that she's shared with us tonight. It's a 5-star on your phone. All right. Doesn't look like there is anyone here to ask that. And at this point, how would you like to wrap this up? What are some final thoughts for the audience tonight in terms of what you've been talking about? Any last words of wisdom from your visionary thoughts here?
Well, a favorite quote that I share often is, to travel far, travel light, and be sure to pack all your dreams.
Oh, I love that. Who's that quote from?
Me.
You wrote that? I love that. I love that. A Lori quote. Say it again. I love that.
To travel far, travel light, and be sure to pack all your dreams.
Oh, I love that, Lori. Thank you so much. It has really been...
Well, thank you. Thank you, dear one. This has been a great hour. Thank you so much.
Oh, excellent. And I want to thank all of our listeners and people who are listening on the replays. Just feel free to get in touch with Lori. Again, womenasvisionaries.com. And those of you registered will get copies of the replay, so if you want to listen to it again. And please email her to get the free ebook, because that's also great. And do consider the Bali trip. It sounds really amazing. So thank you all, everyone, and blessings. And we will see you again on another Light Beam Hour. Take care now. Bye-bye. All right.